We are now live. How's it going? My name is Mike Piet with Brian Fleming, and we do weekly calls where we're giving our best strategies, tips, and advice to grow your business faster and more profitable. Today, we're going to go over personal productivity. I'm going to give my best tips on productivity, how to get the most done, the fastest, the least amount of effort. And then, Brian, I want you to share your stuff too, because I think it's so critical. I mean, there's millions of tactics online, what to do, how to get more leads, how to get more sales, and then fulfillment. I mean, there's these three core, systems that we always talk about in business, whether it's lead generation, getting the leads, or sales, closing those leads, going through that process, and then fulfillment, fulfilling those leads. So as a business owner, there's a lot to do. And yeah, there's tons of tactics and strategies out there. There's a limited amount of information on that. But I think a really key system is able to be productive and actually do that stuff fast, because there is a lot, and we do have a lot of roles in business. So I think it's super productive, and I mean, it's super important. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. It's the whole key to everything is being able to execute, right? It's just, especially if you're trying to get an internet business off the ground and you don't have funding, then you're probably time starved, because you have to fund the business some other way. You have to do it through a day job, or you have to have client work. You have to have freelancing, something else going on to generate income. So by definition, it means you don't have a lot of time. So you have to be ruthless with your time, or you're going to be sitting there a year later frustrated that it hasn't happened yet and you're not further along, because months can slip by.
So true.
So,
yeah.
And let's start with things that destroy good productivity, because that's where I think is to block out that get you away from being productive.
This can be the biggest blessing or the biggest curse.
So what do you do, Mike? What do you do every day? Do you shut that off?
I don't shut it off, because I'm actually running an Instagram app that follows people. So I have it on for that reason. But yeah, I'll throw it underneath the couch. I'll put it underneath the blanket. I'll put it away out of sight. It's just the most distracting thing. I get robocalls, sales calls all the time.
Right now, I just saw it light up.
Yeah, well, it's not doing anything right now. It's the app. But yeah, I get calls. It's super distractive. So I'll definitely, get it away from me as further as possible. Just the vibration in my pocket or near me. Or the call. Yeah, it's super distractive. And yeah, if anyone really needs to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me eventually, there's many different ways, but yeah. And then obviously probably checking email first thing in the morning. But again, some of these rules too is if you're a really productivity ninja, you can if you did want to check your email to check something, and then you're super disciplined and can, then go work on your biggest opportunity or your most important task, your MIT, then, maybe you can kind of break the rules, so to speak. So a lot of these things that we'll talk about, do what's best for you. I got one super hack that I really want to share, because I like to share things that no one else really talks about, because if everyone else talks about it, sure, it's good to talk about the fundamentals and what everyone else is talking about, what works, that's good. But I like to also share things that no one else talks about, because then, no one else talking about it that way, people can learn it. And obviously one of the things most people talk about is the morning routine. You've probably heard a ton about the morning routine, right? All this crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, I have one. Do you have one?
Yeah, I have one too.
All right, go through them. I think they're critical. I really do.
Yeah, I think a lot of
people talk about it, and it's for damn good reason. Damn good reason.
Yeah, it's this old saying, how you start off the day kind of follows it. So if you start off kind of checking Instagram or checking something, or reacting or thinking about even negative things, your kind of whole day is kind of oh, you're trying to kind of recover versus starting strong. And a big thing I did learn from Evan Pagan with his productivity stuff is that the morning is actually about renewal. It's about building up energy before spending it right away on your biggest task and solving problems and handling things like that. But one of the biggest challenges that I've had probably since high school, and ever since I've learned personal development success about the morning routine, is waking up early to go to the gym before work, before you do this stuff, and get this stuff in time. And I'm the most motivated person, all that stuff. But in the morning, it's my head's in a different space. Right now I can, talk like this, but in the morning you see me, I'd be it's I don't care about anything. I don't care about anything.
I'm the same way. I'm the totally same way. So what I've been doing, and it's like the last 30 days, I'm in a little bit different situation because I can go in my basement and work out down there, right? But I've been doing cardio for like 15 minutes because my body isn't up yet.
I like that.
And I hate it. I don't ever want to do it, ever.
I like
but 2 or 3 minutes in, I like feel how stiff and fucked up my body is. But dude, when you're done, you're fucking ready for the day. You're ready, man. Yeah, getting to the gym early in the morning.
Movement.
Wake up earlier. Yeah.
Sit a lot. Yeah. And I feel like you can kind of break this rule for a little bit. Like you could like maybe say, whatever, the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm just going to wake up, work a ton, and then work till I fall asleep, whatever. But eventually your posture is going to break down. Your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health is going to break down. But again, the biggest struggle for me has always been getting up to do that stuff. I know to wake up, drink water, maybe listen to something, read something, work out, but I could never work out. And we always have a daily meeting at 9, which is a key for like managing staff to really have everyone.
How could you not make a 9 o'clock meeting?
Yeah. So like that was one technique I did where I had something to
hold on, back up though. How could you not wake up, get a quick workout in? I think it like this. The minute you have to get in the car and go to the gym, that's now an hour.
Yep.
Right? I'm talking about 15 minutes working out in the basement. So,
but there has been plenty of times where I've like skipped the 9 o'clock meeting just because my, whatever you want to call it, the other self, lower conscious self, you know, the snooze I have, let's say I wake up at alarm clock goes off at 8 and, you know, you hit the snooze and it finally turns off. Like you're going to sleep for another hour and a half, you know, you're going to miss your whole.
Your alarm clock set at 8.
It's actually set at 7. But I was just giving an example.
Snooze till 8.
It can snooze for, I can sleep through anything almost. So here's the one thing I wanted to share, which I've never seen anyone do. I'm sure someone's done it, but what I did was I recorded a message like now at this time while I'm awake, talking to myself that I know is going to be unconscious and not the same self, so to speak. So I'll play it, and it's kind of funny.
All right, we are live. Good morning, Mike and Sarah. This is your, what is it, past self?
Yeah, get up and go to the gym.
Even if you feel so tired, once you get up, you'll just start going, go to the gym. You're going to feel so much better.
You're going to need energy. You're going to need to start your day at the gym.
And
start more
posture is
confidently.
key. You never get to it if you don't go now.
Take on more on the day. 10X, we got that event coming up. We want to be fit. We want to get to our higher selves to produce more workout load.
What's success without health?
Yes. And in order to be more successful and take on more, you got to be more healthy. You got to step up the health game. So get up. I don't care if you set for 1 minute or 5 minutes or 2 hours. Go to the gym.
Or 8 hours.
Yeah.
Slept good or bad, no excuses. You're getting up now. This alarm is set for what time, Sarah?
7 a.m., Mike.
So now it's probably 7:02, maybe. It could be 7:02. Each minute counts. You guys must get up. Sarah, stop rolling over like that. Mike, just get up. Remember what Tony said. Just move. You can do it. Move. Go for a walk. Drink some water.
Oh my God, that's great.
So basically, all our objections, because a lot of the times when we slept in, we're like, well, we stayed up late. We only got 6 hours or only 5 hours. So if we're going to sleep in, you know? So we basically did this message. So I have an alarm. So first I bought an alarm that's not connected to my phone because sometimes I'll leave my phone in a different room. So it won't be in the room. So I'll have that's beeping, but then within 5 minutes, this alarm goes off, and this is really good too. And I have like a more aggressive version where I'm like yelling at myself, like, Mike, you're stupid. Get up. You know, you can't get up at this time. Like, what else can you do? You know, you got to be a man. Like, you know, like you yelling at myself. Here's the interesting thing, though.
Here's the interesting thing. You have to discipline yourself to wake up, because if you had a job, right, got to be in the office at 8.
Yeah. And that was always, even when I worked a traditional job, that was like the biggest struggle always. And then I always thought when I didn't work a job, then I'd have like the optimized routine, all that stuff. This job is what messes everything up. And I realized, well, it's not.
Now left unbridled, if you don't wake up early enough, you're just kind of behind the 8 ball, which I guess is okay. But if you're trying to grow a business, that just doesn't fly, does it?
No.
I'm just thinking this through. Like, if you wake up at 8 in the morning and you're not really going till 9 and you have your staff meeting to kick things off, then you just work late or not a lot, one or the other.
Yeah. Cause then we found if we like, so yeah, so that's the thing that's been working. Then like, yeah, the 9 o'clock, something accountability, just like at a job, you know, you have to get up. So of course you're going to like, even if you slept in, would wake up like 15 minutes before you had, so you could just eat something and go, you know, and do that route. So we knew something.
I guess that's not so bad. That's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely it's been working. Then of course, all the, you know, typical stuff, you know, we go to the gym, we drink water, we have a healthy meal, and then, you know, maybe have 5-10 minutes just to, you know, chill or whatever. And then, yeah, then we start with our team, which our team is people we actually like and, you know, actually like-minded, motivated people. We even talk about like productivity tips. We talk about, you know, motivating stuff, what we did. So it kind of reboots our mind. Like I can barely even remember sometimes all the stuff I did. I'm like, well, I worked on the upsell, and like sometimes my updates are pretty like, cause I just can't remember just I do so much or something like that. Then it kind of gets my mind. Then going forward, then it gives me accountability too, which is key too. So not everyone's going to have someone to check in, but if you can have some sort of partner or someone that like you trust and respect, and, you know, with that way that like, you know, you say, this is what I'm going to do. That accountability piece can be a huge game changer too.
Yeah, me and Sherry do the same thing once a week. We do a meeting. We don't need to do it every day, but we do it once a week and just go over the KPIs of our business and talk about things. Same kind of thing. It's just the two of us. We don't have a team or anything, but
right.
Even in large corporations, the best large corporations are doing the same thing. Their managers every day are, if they're good managers, they're meeting with their employees and what are we doing today? What went right yesterday?
The worst managers, you like won't talk to them for weeks or months. You know, and it's like you just
go by, nothing
touch with. Like you're a good person, you want to, but it's like no one's really checking on me. Is this still the goal? We set this months ago. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So you got to do that with yourself.
Weekly works good, and daily, if you're actively managing a team, I think is right.
Yeah, and then another thing you touched upon already. I mean, execution, but we can dive deeper. Is like, yes, thinking and strategy is so key, but I realized like I do that a lot too much. Like a current example is like, should I work on these upsells or should I do a webinar? Like kind of like just questioning the route so much and things like that, which it is good because it brings insights, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like you can accelerate the strategy and thinking process and then get more into action and really, you know, go deep with that. So like, I guess in simpler terms, not overthinking, you know?
I agree.
It's so easy to think about these, especially with all these funnels and data and what's the customer avatar, who you're targeting. Like you can just go in so many different loops and so many different routes. It's, you know.
Yeah.
And then another key one is delegation. Right before this, I just got my groceries and it took literally 30 seconds to get my groceries. It's because someone delivers them. So Sarah just goes on the app, picks what she wants, and someone delivers it right away. And it's $12 a month, which is insane. So we get almost
who's that
once or twice. It's called Shipped.
Shipped, okay.
Shipped, and they go to Myers, Target. You may not have that wherever you know you're listening from, but that's just like a huge thing. I mean, I hate going to the grocery store. I have to drive there. It's spent 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. It's 40 minutes. Then all the different distractions. Like when I go to after the grocery store, I'm like tired. I mean, I personally don't like the grocery store, just picking all this stuff and all that. So to get it done and have a list, and I can just do it every time, and you can even say what you bought last time and just pick the same type of things, what you're out of. I think it's a huge game changer. And delegating, things like that. And then, you know, and obviously in business, things like, you know, managing clients, building PBNs, like I've delegated to Sarah, PBNs to Mihai and Mitz, and, you know, optimizing things and things like that. I've built systems and trained other people, you know, to delegate that so I can just work on my core strengths and then they can use their core strengths, you know, and we can all delegate, you know, what we don't like that drains us. And, you know, we kind of just like things like optimizing images for like the site to like load faster. Like I like just don't like doing that stuff. Like I'd rather do something else, you know, so it just drains me just like thinking about it. It's almost like a mental thing, just like you had so many tabs open. So to get rid of some of that stuff, delegation. Yeah. So that's key. We've had a few calls on that, delegating. Interesting topics. It's like, what can you delegate? And, you know, what, you know, can you not? And I've realized like one of the hardest things to delegate, one of most things you probably are going to keep the longest, is like marketing type stuff, kind of like a call like this. I can't delegate this call, I'm the one that's promoting the word out about this stuff and things like that. No, I can't like explain, hey, can someone else come on and talk about productivity? That I don't really know exactly what I'm going to say yet, but like X, Y, Z. So some things you can't delegate, some things you can. But that's definitely just like things like grocery. I don't need to do that. It's not my unique skill of getting groceries. We're optimizing images for lower size to load faster or things like that. Someone else is more apt to do that. So yeah, definitely working your strengths, delegating everything you can. In the beginning, it's going to be harder. And I think this personal productivity system is a lifelong thing. I'm always going to be like delegating, and I'm always going to be working on optimizing these things, what's more efficient. And as I move on through my life, I'll keep, kind of strategizing and figure out what to delegate, what not to, and how to optimize these things. And part of the new year too is a good time to look at it. Like, okay, what was I doing in the past? Maybe I was watching too much TV. Maybe I was checking my phone too much. Maybe I was playing games too much. And yeah, those things are cool. You could say like, oh yeah, I mean, I used to watch a bunch of TV. Like we were watching like 90 Day Fiance, like Bachelor, like kind of some trashy shows or whatever. And I was saying, oh yeah, it was just like, dumbing down my mind so I could, I worked all day. Now I can do this. That's good too. But like, yes, you can do a little bit of that, but like, is there other better ways to rejuvenate? Like maybe just resting your body instead of watching TV is like actually going to get you a lot more rejuvenation to be a lot more productive, focused, and energized than some of these other tasks of checking Instagram, Facebook, email, TV.
You find that tiring, staying up on Instagram and Facebook?
I actually don't like stay up on that stuff a lot. I'll find myself when like once say I worked like on my most important task, biggest opportunity for like an hour or 2 hours, then like I'll find myself at the end of that going on Facebook, checking the notifications. Of course, there's always notifications, messages, Instagram. And then I'm like, I catch myself like in the past, I probably would go way longer and just sit there thinking, well, this is my break. I can spend 10, 15 minutes because this is I already worked hard. But now I kind of catch myself almost instantly. Like I just check mail, check this. And I'm like, look at it. And then like, I know what I'm doing. So I'm like, okay, that stuff's all pretty much pointless. And then I kind of like disconnect and take like an actual break. That's going to like rejuvenate me. Like my main thing to rejuvenate me is just going into a dark room and relaxing. Cause I have lights all over me. I got computers, I got phone, I got everything. You know what I'm saying? I got a million different thoughts going on, different things. So like my biggest thing is just stepping away and getting away from that. It's going to be my biggest 10 out of 10 rejuvenation versus Facebook. Maybe I'll get like a rejuvenation 2 out of 10. I'm not like thinking hard at all, but it's still not the level of where it could be,
Mike, when you go into that dark room, because I've done that before, as opposed to sitting in front of a television, can you feel your mind like trying to figure things out and literally unwinding and piecing the day together and making sense of things and connecting ideas and doing all that?
For sure.
I feel that huge. And when you're watching TV, they're setting the agenda. They're downloading you the information and controlling your thoughts.
And then when I watch TV, I find even like, right after, hour after, days after, like I'll be thinking about that TV show. Like I'll be thinking about that person on that TV show.
Yes.
Not about my own life. It's like
one huge change I made, maybe this would help people, is, and it's simple, is to not turn the news on in the morning.
That's true.
Oh my God. It just sets the tone. Boom. I'm like, God, man, that baby got murdered last night. And you're just down about it, man.
I know. Like my mind, when I hear that stuff, I automatically think like, how can I help?
Yes. It just puts you in the worst mood. So I don't do that.
Yeah.
I got an app. I've told you about it. The 5-minute journal. I fire that sucker up. And you have to put down 3 things you're grateful for to put yourself in a positive mindset. 3 things that would make today great. And I like that because that gives you some expectations. Like one of the things on my list today was that we had a good call tonight. Awesome. That would make today great, right? And if that happens, I know it was a good day. I don't have to measure myself by anything else. Unlike you, I do not check my email till later in the day. I really try not to because it's distracting. Okay. Now, what I'll do, I'll usually try to write down around 3 of the most critical tasks that I want to get done. And it's probably different than the 5-minute journal thing, but I'll write down 3. What's interesting is how often I can't get those 3 done.
That is,
I'll have a completely blank schedule, and I'm gonna fix a bug in PC Tattletale, and then, the phone rings or something. A lot of things can come up with my day job and disrail plans, and that all changes. But to your point, in your life, my God, distractions, you got clients. Like, I don't know how that could work for you. You're just constantly under a barrage of distractions.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. And I've done my best to delegate that to Sarah, my wife, Sarah, but now she's in that same boat. And it's interesting to see her go through it. It's like a really great process for me to see, is because she has all the same struggles as I go through, like managing all the clients. So I kind of think to myself, like, oh, I'm not crazy. Like, you know, it is a lot to manage all that stuff. So yeah.
I heard someone with the client business, and they were saying that when you sell on ROI, meaning I'm going to help you increase your business and make more money, you put yourself on the hook for a lot, and it makes it very, very stressful, very difficult, and it goes all over the place, right? But when it's more transactional, I'm going to sell you 20 links to boost your SEO. You're not on the hook for anything, and it's much easier. And I know you guys sell on ROI, and it's great, but understand that in itself causes a lot of stress and uncertainty, and clients calling you, and just a lot can derail your day. I think, Mike, if you wrote 3 things down, you'd probably be like me. You'd struggle to get all 3 done. Maybe some days you would, but in general, the day just goes off on a tangent.
True. Yeah. Today I actually went to a client meeting. I still have one client, and it's interesting you brought that up. Yeah. So like, obviously she wants a goal. We're working towards that. And like, I found myself, just as someone that wants to help, like I was adding more work to myself. I'm like, we could add live chat to your site. We could try testing this pay-per-click campaign. We could try this. Like I built up because I want to give value, you know?
Right. And it's not in your wheelhouse. And you don't have systems for it. So
yeah, exactly. It's not part of the job description, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have client stuff, it just seems like, I guess they call it scope creep.
Yep.
Remember that term? Yep. It just keeps like adding up. So yeah, you want to help. And like Sarah was saying, like a client asked her about, like, they have 100 pages and they want to update all their meta titles. So she just volunteered to do it, you know, where she didn't necessarily have to do that specific thing. They maybe could have done it or someone else, but like she volunteered to she wants to help and add value. But then you're just adding more and more work, you know, with all this stuff.
Yeah. And do it times 5 or times 10 clients. And you can see how chaotic your day would get.
Yeah. And then another interesting thing too is like when you say you have like 3 things too, sometimes, like I used to do that a lot, but sometimes I find that hard because let's say like this current project I'm working on more now with upsells, like I don't really know what exactly I need to do with them. I just know I need to communicate and sell these products. So it's like I just write down basically major progress on finishing the upsells, because then I go in there and then I start working on it and think, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to make more clear? So it's kind of like, in that terms too, I'm not sure how productive that is versus like.
No, that's great. So like today, if I was in your shoes, you got how many upsell pages to do?
5.
I know these pages are hard to do. And I think in this case, I would probably write either content for upsell page or edit upsell page. And I would call that enough, because I know tomorrow I'll move to the next step, and doing any more than that's just too much in a day. There's just not enough brain cycles. There's probably enough time, but there's just not enough mental energy.
True.
So I think in that case, I would keep it at 1, because it's such a big task.
It is. Yep. And it's like I've always wrote sales pages, but now I'm finding myself.
Now what's interesting, we talk about delegation, is you could delegate it.
I could, but I think that's one of the things where it would not work out how I planned, and would be more work down, since it is my voice in this terms. Now that's one of those things where I think long-term, eventually I want someone in-house who knows what we're doing, all the stuff, and kind of
a video.
No, the videos are done.
It's just laying out a page, right?
Laying out the content. And then what I'm finding too is like, well, I'm set, like the first one, like I'm selling, like it's going to grow your business, but then the next one, like, is going to grow your business. So it's kind of hard to like, because it is like, I'm selling like like I said in the beginning, like you need the sales system, the lead gen, the fulfillment, I'm selling the mastermind plus like coaching. So it's like all these things help you grow your business, but you can't like sell the world to one of them. because then the next one's like, you can't sell the world again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to somehow like piece it. So it's like, I'm kind of working on that strategy of to give enough, but not saying this is going to solve everything. You know what I'm saying? In a way.
Is the content done on that first upsell page?
Well, it's an interesting story on that too. So I wrote like a really first good one, and then I copied that 4 times, and then I like replaced it instead of sales closing system, fulfillment system. So I just replaced it, and it became really cheesy because like all the headlines were basically the same. Just like, so I kind of tried to shortcut it instead of like thinking of what's the big thing and like what do I need to say for this one. So I may have kind of shot myself in the foot, like trying to like skip steps in terms of like just having this exact template, just change the words, because now it seems like, didn't I just read this like deja vu? So
these
part
are
of that
pages in your tool, and you're looking at them, and they're functional. They're just not cleaned up, right?
They're functional, but yeah, they're basically copy and pasted from each one. So I really have to like make them unique, each one, because it seems like, didn't I just read this? It's literally like the exact same like story. Just what I really needed was a mastermind group. What I really needed was coaching. This coaching really helped. And the next one is this master, like it's all like the exact same. So it seems like the exact same. So yeah.
All right. So if I was you, this is what I would do for my 3 in the morning. I'd wake up, do my morning routine, do my cardio stuff, and then I think I'd sit down and I would write out outline of upsells. Right, that'd be one task.
Yeah,
and I would probably start that immediately, because that's the single most critical, high thinking task possible that I could do. Now you got a staff meeting in the middle of there, which naturally is going to derail that. I would try to get a good start on that before that meeting, because I think after the meeting, my mind's not going to be in that. If I can't, I can't, you know. I'd separate that task, and then usually if I can get that main task done, and you could probably knock that out maybe a half hour if you can get unfocused, you know, and just really focused and really sit down. The next task would be like, you know, write out an outline for the first page and then fill in the text. That might be it for the day. Just the outline in the one page. And the next day it's the next page. And man, thinking about it with delegation, I think all you have to do is, and I think I saw it where you roughly had the text laid out in the offer.
Right.
You would delegate someone to lay out that fucking page, because that's such a time suck, and they're going to do it better than you. There's designers, I'm going through this right now. There's designers out there that are good and they're cheap. See,
but the designing thing for me is not hard. It's not time consuming. To me, it's not that time consuming. It's not that hard. I mean, if even it took 3 hours, like that, I mean, for me, I mean, I don't have kids. I don't have anything. Like that's nothing to me. Like I actually enjoy design. Like that wouldn't take any like mental effort or time. It's more like the content, like the strategy of how do you get someone who, you know, in this case, bought this book and then sell these other things. That's where I don't think anyone could really, I mean, I'm sure you could hire someone.
No, you would write all that. You would definitely, you can't outsource that. That's the piece you can outsource.
Right.
The mechanics of cleaning the page up and where to put the headlines and how to make the font pop, that stuff. You just said it's 3 or 4 hours. That's a whole nother page. You may enjoy doing it, but it's outsourceable, whereas the other one isn't.
Yeah, but I think it would take 10 to 15 hours to interview all the people, hire them. Then when they do it all wrong, getting frustrated, angry.
True. I feel that.
A week later, when I'm already totally on a different task, then I have to stop that task, what I'm doing, and then come back, try to explain it to them, and lose all that money I paid them.
There you go. That's outsourcing for you. There you go. That's real. I think that's real, Mike.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, each person would do it a different way. That's great that you would do it that way. For me, yeah, what really works well for me is where I can, the first morning thing, exercising. And then that first meeting is also like one of my most important tasks, because like Sarah's doing the fulfillment. Like I want to be present and build the team up. Because that's where I think a lot of leverage, and that's like we mentioned before, TYT clients is what pays all this bill. From one perspective, this is like a long-term project. you know, into more teaching and having assets like that, and just clarifying my thinking on that stuff like that. And that meeting also helps me jumpstart me into kind of what I need to do too. It kind of gets my brain going, just like talking like this, like business stuff, just gets my brain going. And then, yeah, then I can devote, you know, as much time to that specific project or whatever I have to do. But yeah, I think a lot of the productivity to sum it up would be to also, yeah, focus, but then also like rejuvenation. Like a lot of these things like delegation is kind of not exactly like kind of like having like better food, things like that are the kind of indirect that are going to, you know, affect your focus, your energy, even things like who you surround yourself with. Like all these things are going to affect your focus and things like that. So it's kind of an indirect game too, if you think about it like that. Like what I exercise each day or what I eat each day is going to affect that focus. And then obviously getting rid of distractions and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, it's a lifelong pursuit to become more productive. Obviously we don't want to go too crazy where every single minute we're like, oh, you know, I could be doing this or doing that. But definitely getting in there, getting it done. At the end of the day, at least for me, like this stuff does take a considerable amount of time. I heard an interesting one from Russell Brunson today that he said it took him 12 years to be successful the way he wanted. And I was like, wow, I was thinking of your, you know, 3-year rule you told me. I'm like, well, that's times 4.
Think about it after 3, you know, and then do 4. But
and if you think about it too, so whatever, it's 3 years, 12 years, what's the difference? Well, the difference is how productive and focused you can be. Because at the end of the day, you know, you need to test out different offers. You know, you need to try different sources, Facebook, Google, whatever, analyze the data, refine, come back to it, do this, you know, like all that's focus, energy, et cetera. So that's what's going to be the difference between if you and someone else started the same project, the difference. And if you both were kind of relatively doing the same thing, creating a webinar, whatever it may be, a sales page, it's focus and energy, you know. And yeah, not as much thinking about it, but, you know, getting it done.
Really good, man. Well, hey, we're at about the 30-minute mark. We want to keep these a little shorter. I think it's good, man. We've got a lot of content in there. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a good call. Let us know down below in the comments, what's your productivity thing? What really works well for you, whether it's fundamentals you've heard somewhere else or something unique to you that, you know, you never heard before. Let us know. We'd love to start the conversation so we can all be more productive and achieve our goals faster. Yeah, impact more people and much, much more. So I hope you got tons of value out of this. Again, this is Mike Piet with Brian Fleming, and we'll talk to you again next time. Peace. Be productive.